What's up, everybody? Before we get going, just want to let you know today's guest, Shaun Murphy, is hilarious. You're going to love him. And he's recording a new comedy special at the Comedy Cellar in New York City on August 10th. That is a Sunday night. The shows are at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. Get your tickets to that. Also, Phil, Duckett, and we did our live pod a couple weeks ago. It was absolutely fantastic. We're now recording this. I'm recording this after the fact, so I can tell you it was a blast. We're going to keep doing more of them. Thank you to everyone who came out and everyone who was not there. Patreon.com/blackandwhiteadvice. You can go there right now. And the entire video of the question and answer segment at the end of the show is up. So for $5, you can go watch the whole thing from the New York Comedy Club, which we recorded about 10 days ago. That's it. Let's get to the show.
Have you ever had a question you wanted to ask the opposite race, but you were too nervous to ask?
I'm Turner Sparks.
And I'm Phil Duckett.
And this is Black and White Advice.
Where we answer all your questions about race, even the scary ones.
This is Black and White Advice.
You've got a question, but you're scared to ask. Just drop the boys a message, cause they're up to the task. They're rolling the dice, they ain't always nice, but you can't think twice and get it. Black and white advice. Black and white advice.
All right, everybody, welcome to the show. My name's Turner Sparks.
Mr. Phil Duckett.
We got behind the glass, spinning the dial, switching the knobs on the ones and twos, the threes and fours. Joe, the Muscle Russell, making it all happen. Joe, how you doing?
Actually, it's Peter Griffin.
Oh,
Hey.
That's a good one.
Better than your last couple.
Was that the whole impression, though?
Guys, I'm running out of impressions.
Nobody asked you to do this, Joe.
You can recycle, though.
Or you could just be Joe. We've never required this of you.
He opens with an impression every week. The best so far, I think, have been Bill Cosby and Rush Limbaugh. Those are my two favorites.
Macho Man wasn't bad.
Macho Man was good. I forgot about Macho Man.
But yeah, let's not put that straight on Joe, all right? He's fighting for his life.
Yeah, I know. He's really stressed out about it. I can tell. You guys, patreon.com/black. Oh, no, I forgot my sponsor again.
Go ahead and do it on your own.
I do have a sponsor. I'm going to have to. God.
You can do it later when I'm gone.
Because now that we're not making enough on Patreon, so I just went out and got my own sponsors. Oh, nice. But just for me, not for the show.
Okay.
So Michael Jackson has torn off from the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
And now I'm sitting here
I
like
encourage
Tito.
everyone to go get their own sponsors.
Do we get to know what it is?
Yeah, well, I had the box. There's an earwax company that's interested in sponsoring
I'm so glad
me.
they didn't ask me to do that.
And
shit.
it's called the Master Blaster.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they made earwax.
No, they blast it out of your ear. They're a great company, and they're paying me $27.
I feel like as a black man, they should have asked me to do that. The Master Blaster, that's just gangster killing masses.
He's got bigger ears, though.
Yeah.
It's like this gun. Yeah, that's why they came for me. It's target marketing.
Master Blaster.
They shoot this stuff into your ear. They're real. I love, they're great people over there. And $27, they said they'd pay me.
Every time you say Master Blaster?
No, I have to have the box, so I don't even think I get. This is a free one.
Oh, fuck that. I don't do nothing for free. So I'm waiting on Hennessy to reach out.
Anyway, they're great people. On the show today, for everyone else, patreon.com/black and white advice. On the show today, the voice you've already heard, that's the great Shaun Murphy, stand-up comedian from Buffalo, New York, originally. Resident of New York City. Tours the world with Mark Norman, with Joe List, with a couple other people.
I'm never open for Joe List, but I'll pretend I look enough
Are
like
they
him. I'll
different
take
people?
it.
Sam Morrell, they're all the same person at this point. They've all melded into one podcast host.
You're from Buffalo. How long?
Yes, sir.
How long did you live there? Your whole life?
Yeah.
So would you and Joe go to rival high schools?
This is what I wanted to. You know what I want to ask?
Joe's from Buffalo.
I didn't know that. Oh, yeah.
Well, what about your parents'
this is
high
exciting.
school?
We'll get to that in a minute. What high school did you go to?
North Tonawanda High School.
I went to St. Joe's.
Oh.
Catholic
Hey,
school.
la la, must be nice. I went to Jesuit.
And then our family couldn't afford the college, so I went public college.
Oh,
Back.
wow, that's the switcheroo. Most
Yes.
people would go.
And you know
public
what?
high school,
the right
private
way
college.
to do it because no college debt.
Public.
But you have high school debt.
Yeah, but I mean,
Crippling high school debt.
Wait a minute. Public university still costs money.
it does.
Yeah, that's true.
It does, but it's way cheaper.
Oh,
than
I was
that.
like, no debt. I'm
Yeah.
like, you still owe something. Them books are like $600 a
Where'd you go?
pop.
Buffalo State?
University of Buffalo.
UB? You a Bull?
Buff State.
UB, I'm a Bull.
I went to grad school at Miami University, so they're in the MAC, so we played.
Right, Miami of
been-
Ohio.
Yeah, that's where I went.
I was
So
Miami,
The real,
Florida.
the real Miami.
Hey, it actually did open before University of Miami. That's why we call ourselves the real Miami.
Do you know that people would always ask me my entire life when I say I went to University of Miami, they go, which one? Like people who want to sound smart.
Yeah.
I go, the real one. What are you talking about?
No, the
Which
real one is Miami of Ohio. Opened in 1809.
Let's take a poll.
Thank
Let's
you.
take a poll of the United States.
Until football was a thing, y'all were nobodies.
That is true.
Yeah.
Howard Schnellenberger turned it around. down
Yeah,
there.
man.
There were some good MAC football players.
Khalil Mack went to
Khalil
UB,
Mack went to
motherfucker.
UB?
Yeah, when I was at Miami, he played for it, because I remember going to watch him play.
Who was the Shaq of the Mac? Remember that basketball player they called the Shaq of the Mac? It was like tractor trailer.
Yeah,
or
he played
somebody.
at Bowling Green State University.
was it Bowling Green?
Yeah, he played
Okay.
at Bowling
I
Green.
forget his
I know
name.
exactly what you're talking about. Big dude. He was nice.
It was a great nickname, though.
Yeah,
That's a
but
great name.
Miami, we had Wally Zerbiak, Ben Roethlisberger, Plies. I don't know the rapper Plies played football at Miami. Yeah, we had some
We had
good
Uncle
ones.
Luke.
And we have the cradle of coaches, you know what I mean? Like, all the greatest coaches went to coached at Miami. Well, Miami of Ohio is the real deal, you know?
The real
We're called
deal.
the Harvard of the Midwest.
Phil Duckett coached at
I coached
University.
I coached at Miami. I was the grad assistant. My dad was
Whoa,
the
for the
assistant.
football team?
Basketball.
Oh,
Yeah, so back in the day before I
What's
started
your best
comedy.
record?
Oh, we were terrible. We got fired.
We got fired.
I literally left and moved to New York 2016. They gave him one more season. They fired him next year. I got out right in time. And my dad,
Way to go.
my dad was associate coach. I was like, he was like, we're gonna get let go. I said, of course.
We're gonna get let go.
They literally had their best season this past year in the last 25 years. They
Really?
they one game away from the NCAA tournament. They lost to Akron. Akron came back, won in the MAC
UB
championship.
women won the
You women be shopping.
women be playing basketball.
Women be hooping.
What's the one that's not the March Madness? What's the
NIT.
one below that? NIT. They won the NIT this year.
Wow.
Let me ask you
Not
something.
bad.
Wasn't
We have a debate that's been going on.
I love a good debate.
You're from
I'm gonna get
Buffalo.
ready.
this has been going on for multiple
From the-
episodes of this
okay.
show.
Oh,
Joe
it's
told
exciting.
us a very disheartening tale weeks ago that his father went to high school in Buffalo, and back in PE class when they would have swimming, they did it naked.
Wow.
Is that? Have you heard that in Buffalo? Did your parents swim naked? Yes or no?
In gym
I
class.
assume no.
Wow, really?
I mean, I don't know. I
He's
didn't
never
ask
asked
them. It doesn't
But
come
now
up.
you're about to open up a can of worms. Are your parents still with
It's going
us?
to be a great Thanksgiving.
Okay. They're very like, can
Excited.
you
I
ask
won't
them?
bring it up. I'll ask
Be
them.
like, so
Pass
I
the
know a guy
mashed
from
potatoes.
Buffalo. His dad's from Buffalo. He said that in gym class back in the day.
Call
which I'm
them.
assuming-
Call your parents right now.
Call them on the air.
Did y'all swim naked? That's what you got to ask them in
I'll
gym
ask
class.
them.
So we did had Matt Wayne was on the show a couple weeks ago, and said his parents also swam naked.
In Iowa.
Whoa.
In Iowa. It was a
No. One of our listeners wrote in and said their parents did in Iowa.
Oh.
Matt Wayne's from Buffalo.
Yes, correct.
So he said in Buffalo his
He
parents
said
swam
parents did
naked
it
too.
Your parents have a whole life.
So
you
it's a
know
Rust
nothing
Belt
about.
in the across the Rust Belt.
And I don't know if it's girls. I know it's just the guys.
That is even more terrifying.
So I
So,
don't know-
they didn't even want to see the women. They just wanted to see little boy dicks. That's crazy.
Bizarre. High school?
Definitely middle school. I don't know about high school.
Definitely middle school.
So-
In high school, they put clothes on.
Ironically, you went to private school. Maybe they didn't at the Catholic.
It was a Catholic
No,
private
it was
school.
that's the 2000. This probably stopped happening in the 1950.
This is my
How old do you think his parents are?
Probably.
60s, 70s, and earlier.
I think Joe
Whatever,
Russell's 60
whatever.
years old.
We were in high
That's
school.
great.
This
We
is
were
the
in high
Great
school.
Depression
In the
era.
2000s, that would have never happened. But yeah.
My point is it wouldn't have happened by the 90s, the 80s.
But did your parents go to Catholic school as well?
I believe so.
So
Do you
maybe they
know
didn't.
your parents?
I'm trying to think of their names. I want to
Right.
say
He's like, I
starts with a
believe they went to
P.
Catholic school. That's amazing.
That is. Isn't it crazy to think of the things people used to, like? That used to be okay. People used to say that to their friends and be like, "Oh yeah, we don't do that," but that's not crazy.
People were literally getting 15-year-olds pregnant and marrying them, and
Yeah,
they were like
smoking
30.
on planes and stuff.
You
like
know,
that.
to this day, I literally said that because you can still see the ashtrays in some of the plane, like in the older planes. You can
Oh, yeah.
still
You're
see-
like, how old
that's-
is this plane?
And
I always
but,
wonder.
But the thing is, I was alive. I mean, I was born in '88. They said they outlawed smoking cigarettes on planes in 1990, 91.
It was that late?
Yeah. It was like 1999.
Well, it's crazy even to think like when I was a kid, you could smoke at restaurants.
And smoking and non-smoking sections, like
Yeah, smoking.
Yeah.
Not
But the
smoking
fact
section.
that even in 91, you weren't smart enough to realize how smoke works. Like
Yeah.
I
it
know.
travels through restaurants.
You can see it.
Yeah, it doesn't stop it. You just don't have it directly. in your
Is
food.
there something in your mind that you go, this is the thing that in 20 years people will be like, I can't believe we all did this.
Oh, like right what we're doing now.
What we're doing, because
Oh,
there is
yeah,
something.
Of course.
Well, think about it like
It's
this.
phone stuff.
We already have
Probably
it. Think
phone
about it
stuff.
like this. I was with some like talking to some kids recently, and no bullshit. He was like, "What was an iPod like?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh, really?
And it really hit me. I was like, "It actually is dead technology. You would never have an iPod now. You have an iPod. You have a phone." But the fact that he asked me what was it like, I'm like. They're like, and then you had a CD player too. I'm like, buddy, my parents fucking splurge bought me the non-skip CD player. I could throw that bitch up and still listen to the song.
I remember
But that's crazy.
My dad had a 6-changer in his trunk.
That's pretty
A
crazy.
CD 6-changer.
Yeah, my mom had
But
that.
it sounded like rich guy stuff. And then when in functional wise, it was the worst thing on earth. Because you'd have to stop the car and go change.
But even during that time, that was you can literally store 6 of them and play.
Yeah.
But
I
no,
remember I
matter
got
of
one of
fact,
those for my bedroom in high school, and it's so funny to look back on because you changed the CDs. It was like, and you're like, it was quicker if I just changed it myself. It was the most useless technology.
But it felt rich.
Oh, it felt amazing.
It felt rich. Yeah. Back to in the late 90s, didn't Seinfeld date like a high school kid?
Yeah, that she was like in
Way
high
late
school, like
90s.
11th
Yeah.
grade, like 97, 98 maybe.
So probably someone who was my age at the time.
Right.
I was like a junior.
But we
in high
all
school.
knew that. But here's the thing. It's so crazy because the outrage now is like, well, I don't know how you're going to get somebody for 25, 30 years ago, especially when I remember when we were in high school and there would be like the hottest chicks and we're like, oh, she only dates college guys.
Yes, of
She was
course.
like 15
Right.
years
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
You know, and back then he was just like, God, I wish I was a college
Yeah.
guy. You didn't even realize the level of pedophilia because that's what it's called now, pedophilia. But it's like, that was just what we accepted. It's like she likes older men. And we never thought anything else. Like they would literally be in their cars in the parking lot waiting for them after
Yeah.
school. That's wild to think about now.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
think of if there was a girl at your school who was dating like a famous comedian at the time.
What time do you get out of school? I'm gonna pick you up in my Porsche outside your school.
Good.
There he is. There he is. He has to warm up. See, we're putting him on the spot too early. We got to let him like organically get into it.
Why do they call them gym shorts? You're not wearing
He's
them
been
in
waiting
the
all these episodes for pedophilia to come up, and finally, I'm here. We bring it up. He's ready.
What do they call them? Gym shorts. Is the guy's name Jim?
That is ridiculous.
But that would have been, she would have been the popular girl in school. Everyone would be like,
She was always a
Do you
popular-
remember Cindy? She's
was-
dating
yeah.
Seinfeld.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Like, you'd want to be friends with her.
Yeah.
To hopefully
That's
meet.
probably the good thing we don't talk enough about phone, social media, internet is like it takes a couple people like, this fucked up, and everyone's like, yeah, that is kind of fucked up. But when you're in a small group,
Yeah.
and you just think something's normal, you're like, yeah, we swim naked, everyone does
Even
that.
18. I remember a freshman year of college, my buddy was in school in San Francisco and said a girl in his dorm was dating Adam Duritz, the singer from Counting Crows, who was like late 30s at the time. And she was 18, which it's fine by law. But they all just thought she was the coolest person on earth. Yeah. Literally, no one thought it. Everyone was like, we got to meet Adam Duritz. He showed up to our frat party last week. How cool are we?
And now you're looking back, like even at my age of 36, I'm like, you go into a frat.
yeah, freshman frat party.
You're
Well, it's so funny how that also only works that way. Like, there's never, there's
never a hot chick.
There's never a guy who's like, I'm dating Julia Louis-Dreyfus. she was like, oh, I don't want anything to do with this fucking 18-year-old loser.
Yeah, no, that's true. It's always the men. We creep it up for sure.
Yeah, it works. You were asking me, so we're on the floor of my building right now. Full disclosure, I know most of my neighbors. You were asking how I know my neighbors. Because I think most people in New York don't know their neighbors.
Yeah.
Is that true?
I don't care about my neighbors.
I don't. Yeah.
So here's what I know what it is. That's why I want to save it for the air. My wife is a very friendly Asian person, right?
Okay.
I think being a Chinese woman who's super friendly, she like very easily meets everyone around here. Everyone in the neighborhood. Everyone knows her. She's somehow more memorable, I think, than just like
Somehow.
a white guy.
She's a nice Chinese lady.
She's very nice. No, I'm
with
giving her
perfect
credit.
English.
Yes.
Very memorable.
Yeah.
So you're saying she hits every demographic?
Yeah, I think everyone's like open to meeting her.
She's like,
He's not racist because he's married to her.
she's like the Will Smith of
No,
the building.
most of them don't know who I am. Like, we'll meet people and she'll meet people, and sometimes I'll even be with them, and she'll be like, "Oh, it's my husband." And then 2 weeks later, I'll be on the street. I'll say hi to him, and they'll be like, "Eh." Yeah. They don't remember me, but then I'll see her. If I'm with her, they're like, "Yay! How's it going?"
That's so hurtful.
I don't mind.
You're not memorable.
I'm not as memorable as my wife, but it's true love, you know.
So she's kind of like The Rock, Will Smith. She hits every demographic. Everyone's like, we love this person,
including Chris Rock.
Now, if only we had a Chris Rock impression.
Every demographic.
I love black people, but I hate.
Oh no!
In unison, we all, when our powers combine.
Whoa!
I was like, where's Joe going with this? I was like, is he going to finish the bit?
Is that Chris Rock or Rush Limbaugh back there?
Everybody's hand was just over like, whoa.
So you're filming a comedy special very soon.
Yes.
At the Comedy Cellar.
Yes.
I want to talk about. There's a story behind this, but I want to save it for our Patreon.
Okay.
The backstory on why you're doing it now.
Okay.
Because there's been attempts to do this in the past.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's a whole debacle. But it's more. I think it's a behind-the-scenes comedy thing.
Yeah, I don't want to besmirch anyone on.
We can
the
do
internet.
besmirch on Patreon.
so people have to pay for
That's
it.
where the besmirching happens.
It's only a select few people.
That's exactly why I thought it was Patreon. The second you said besmirch, Phil realized why I wanted to save it. We besmirch everyone on Patreon.
Oh, that's exciting.
A couple of weeks ago, we
name
put up,
names on Patreon. Hey, if you pay for it, you can hear the fucking real convo.
Exactly. A couple of weeks ago, we put out on our main feed like a Patreon episode. Like, oh, this is what our Patreon sample of our Patreon thing. I was putting that episode together. There was almost nothing we could use because there's so much besmirching happening. I'm like, we can't use any of these clips. It's all us naming real names of people.
I was like, and fuck them too.
And the New York City comedy scene on the air.
That's great. I'm excited. You know what? I'm subscribed to the Patreon. You just got me.
There you go.
I'm in.
You haven't even told the story yet. All right, we'll be right back with your Black and White Advice questions and answers, everybody.
Hey, you want to get bonus content, early episodes, and have your questions answered on the show?
Well, then subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/blackandwhiteadvice and subscribe right now.
Do it, and we'll give you a shout out on a future episode.
And I might call you the N-word.
All right, we're back. Question number 1 comes to us from George in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Sorry, I was trying to decide which one to start with. George in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He says, white guy here. I want to
That's
know.
how we introduce ourselves.
White guy.
That's how I start.
You know he did both thumbs.
That's how I start every email. I go, hey, white guy here.
Shaun Murphy.
I wonder if I could get a refund.
Howdy doody, white guy here. Yippity doo. White guy here. I want to know, whenever there are burglar alarm commercials on TV, the criminal is always a white guy.
They know, right? They know what to do.
He says, is this taking jobs away from Black, Asian, and Latino actors?
That's fucking. That is a fucking insane.
George the white guy, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
White guy here.
He's just looking out for people.
Why isn't it more accurate to real life? Nah, because they know the type of backlash they would see because there was a time, it was called the 90s, when the robber was always black. And
yes.
the drug dealer was always black. And it got to a point, it was like, you do know we do other shit. And so they have to switch it up. Now they literally go the complete opposite.
Now it's just all white
Yeah,
people.
they're going to find the complete opposite of.
But you know what? Now what you could do, maybe black criminal, black house owner.
Yeah. Oh, so everybody.
Double up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna have a black house owner. Black house owner with a white man robbing
How many
us.
more years of exclusive white guy criminals on TV until we're even, is the question.
At least 60. TV's been around for about 60 years. So.
So we got a lot of catching up to do.
I will say there was eras. I like the kind of terrorist, how you can watch terrorists throughout the decades to know who were fighting. You know what I mean? Like sometimes it'll be. There was a decade where it was just Middle Eastern people would be the terrorists.
Then it
there
was
like,
Asian.
was it Russians in the 80s?
Yeah.
Or
So
kind of like
kinda
Eastern European-ish.
Yeah. And now it's back to that.
Now it's back to that.
Yes.
It was like the Balkans, like Vladi Divac
Yeah.
looking guys.
Yeah.
Because like, are they Serbian? Where are they from? And then it went Middle Eastern around 9/11. Now we're back to Russian, right?
I think so. I think
like
we've
the
come
big
back around.
movies.
Now it's like Nikola Jokic.
Now it's it's Jokic.
His eyes like a big white man.
Have you seen his brothers?
He's huge. They're huge.
They are
He's like the baby of the family.
enormous.
Yeah.
They look like UFC fighters, but they're like 7'5".
I hear they drink their horse's milk. So they
Sure
get so
they do.
big.
That's how they get so big.
And over there, they don't have cow milk. They drink horse
They're
milk.
like strongman competition guys.
Yeah, they're
like
huge.
big
Are
fat
they
gut.
actually strongman competition?
I don't know if they are.
They
but
look like
they're like big gut, but also
They
like
have huge
jacked.
arms. Yeah.
Yeah, the scariest people on earth. So, all right, so we got about 50 more years, 40 more years.
40 more years of white
criminals
White
on
criminals.
TV, exclusively breaking into your home.
Yeah.
But so is it taking jobs away? Is his question? I like how he framed it in a way where he's just looking out for others.
Really, like, his
true.
racism is like he's like trying to look out. No, they're not taking jobs away for us. We can play every role. Thank you, George.
And it's like, if you're in real life, if, Turner has a house, say, you have
Yeah.
a house, someone breaks in, you want it to be a white guy.
Yeah.
It's an uncomfortable phone call if it's not. Yeah.
Describe him. Come on.
Unique
Could be
hair.
anyone.
Unique hair. Seems very fast. And he's a jumper.
Lightning quick.
Like,
You should see his 40 time.
and I think he can rap. That's all I'm gonna say.
He seems very nice.
Yeah, seems very nice. Probably just a fortunate circumstance.
Yeah. Got backed into a corner by society.
I wouldn't cast him in the commercial, I'll tell you that.
Looks nothing like the commercial. That's why I didn't expect him.
Oh my God.
I wasn't looking
White
for
people
him.
trying to describe black people without being racist is crazy.
Next question. This is from Marcia in Portland, Oregon. She says, the era of, in quotes, female version of Ghostbusters.
What a terrible movie that was.
She says, that seems to be over. But if you were to pitch a female version of a typical male movie or a black version of a white movie or etc., what would you pitch?
Ooh.
I have a couple ideas.
I think for the next 007, I have no problem with Idris Elba being 007.
I'm almost shocked it hasn't been a black
No,
person.
because I've seen, they've talked about it. The internet goes crazy. They're like,
Well,
do
and
not
the-
fucking change.
the
Which I do
producers-
agree. I don't want. I'm saying if they had to do it, make him. But I prefer a white 007 because I grew up on, like, my grandfather and I watched all the James Bond. Like, Sean Connery's my favorite. So I get it. Like, it's not like an outrage like The Black Mermaid. I don't, you know what I mean? I was like, I thought it was still a great movie. I get why. There's certain roles where it's just like, just keep it, because they,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Somebody was like, so what if Tom Cruise plays the next Black Panther? I was like, and we'll burn this city to the ground. So I get it.
He
There's
did play. Didn't he play a Chinese like?
First of all, The Last
Japanese-
Samurai was amazing. But what's his
Japanese samurai,
bro,
Tom
but, I mean, you already know Paul Mooney already had a. He was
Did he?
like, he had a great bit. He was like, you got Tom Cruise playing The Last Samurai.
That's a good.
Yeah,
that's a
he
good
was
Paul
like,
Mooney.
He was like, what did he say? He was like, that's why he was like, we ought to have a movie called The Last Nigga on Earth, starring Tom Hanks. He was like, you see, yeah, it's like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's just certain things. It's like, why are you here? Why did the white man need to come and save the samurai? You ain't have no real motherfucking Asian samurai that could have saved the whole. You need a white man to come over and become a samurai to save
never
your
even
whole
saw
hair.
that movie.
It was a great movie. Great movie. Great movie. One of
I love
my
the idea
favorites.
of Tom Cruise being Black Panther. The narrative, like the first 30 minutes, would be like, hear us out.
The pitch.
Yeah, all these people died, and then he was around, and like with the narrative,
Post-apocalyptic.
He did a 23andMe. He was an 8th Wakandan. Yeah, it's like it's too much. It's too much.
So give us your pitches.
You could easily do Hoosiers with like
All black?
Caitlin Clark. No, just like women, like a female.
Oh, I was like, you want to change Hoosiers to all black?
That would be. Well, you could actually do that.
That's already been done. It's
gonna
called
say-
Glory Road.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about Sunset Park?
Oh,
Remember that movie?
I remember. I forgot about that.
When
movie.
Rita Wilson, was that her name? Whatever. Carla from Cheers coached like a black
Oh,
basketball team.
I do remember that movie. Yes.
And the funniest part about it, it was supposed to be Sunset Park, Brooklyn, which now is all Chinese. But at that time was like a black neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so it's like she's going into the hood to coach a black basketball team. But that would just be a Chinese people basketball team.
Yeah, which they could
So it's
still
done
do
today.
it, man. They could still do it.
So I guess they've done versions of
It's a
that.
black woman going into Sunset Park coaching an all Chinese basketball team.
Now we're talking.
They should just redo them all. What are those movies where like the white teacher would come into the black neighborhood? What was
they
that
should
like Dangerous Minds? They should reverse that. We're
well,
like
no.
that would be pretty fun. Like a black woman comes into like all white suburbs and is like, Taylor Swift was kind of like the first poet.
You wouldn't go suburb. You would go like methed out Rust Belt town, like down on its luck Appalachian Mountains. And it would be a rich black person from the city goes to save like the poor white. Like
The movie would be 7 minutes long. The lynching would take 6. Small black man goes to a small Appalachian town. They would never hear from him.
How
again.
furious would like that contingent of white people be?
So what would you do?
You know what I mean? If you just
that would be
reverse-
What franchise would make white people the most mad if it got flipped?
A League of Their Own. All hood sisters.
That sounds like a good movie.
Yeah. They was like, Kiki, you gotta hit this bitch.
Ghostbusters pissed people.
And then you got instead of Tom Cruise, some black guy was like, "There's no smoking in baseball." Oh, that would piss people off pretty good in the white community.
Next question.
Yes, sir. Before I get canceled.
Let's see. This is from Monroe in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
White guy here.
Yeah. Says I'm a black guy wondering.
What's wrong? God damn.
I'm a black guy. I'm wondering, why do white people like putting their bare feet on the dashboard?
Let me tell you something. Why do they like putting their bare feet on anything that's not
I agree.
theirs? It is a you know what it is? It is a privileged mindset that what are you going to do about it?
Look at me right now.
White people love bare feet.
They
and
do.
I hate bare
They
feet.
call
I'm anti-feet. I'm socks all the way, shoes. I don't want to even think about bare feet.
They call it grounding. They think they're becoming one with the earth. We call it dirty.
He says it all the time. He's always talking about grounding.
We call it fucking
I won't
dirty.
shut up about grounding over here.
Dude, feet on dashboards. White people, another thing, on road trips, they always got their feet out the window.
Yeah,
out the window.
mirror.
That's big.
Yeah.
That's weird to me.
I agree.
I'm like, you
I
don't
agree with
feel them
that.
bugs slapping against the soles of your feet. Then the worst of the worst, which will get you fucked up and probably get me on a no-fly list, do not put your toes on the plane between the seat. If I see them motherfuckers,
Yes.
I'm going to stab
100%.
them. I'm going to stab them with
100%.
my keys, something sharp. I'm like, oh, sorry. Because why the fuck do you think that your toe jam should be beside me? I paid the same amount for this fucking economy class ticket you did, you bitch. Don't you
Completely
ever
on board.
fucking put your toe
Completely
by
on
me.
board.
Yeah.
Now, where do you go? Where's the worst place you went bare feet? Because you seem like a barefoot.
Like, yeah.
I mean, I grew up in California, so flip-flops everywhere for like entire high school, to school every day.
Even like nice events?
No, not nice events, but most people would wear flip-flops in school. Yeah. And then I went to college in Miami, Florida, so same thing. Flip-flops in class and everything. So then it just leads to bare feet because flip-flops, they flop off, and then, you're bare feet. But he wants to know the answer to the question.
Before we get into that, we'll get to that. I think
Look at Phil.
I think people that wear flip-flops in New York City are fucking animals.
I also
Savages.
agree. I agree with that.
All this fucking, especially if it starts raining, the amount of
Yes.
fluid and
Garbage
feces
water.
that is on the heels of
Yep.
your, and then white people then have the nerve not to wash their feet. Because then they, like we talked about, they say they let the soap run down, and that's
Yeah.
good enough. So not
Wash
only
your feet, Turner.
Yeah, so if not only if you're
Whoa.
He does not-
episode now.
his feet are covered.
Here comes Phil and the other white guest
His
yelling
feet are
at-
fucking covered. So this isn't him. Y'all walking around this sewer water,
We're in my
flopping
home
away,
right now.
flopping away. You go outside in flip flops, and when it
That's
rains,
true.
you flop, and then
Yeah.
you come home, and then you don't soak them. You just
Sue
let
me,
the
I
water
flop in
run.
the rain.
Oh God,
You're more flop than flip.
Women
I've
be
been
flopping.
saying.
women whites be flopping. Women and
I
whites.
No,
never
I
got-
will say
I
it-
never got the foot thing. I despise the foot thing.
The foot thing.
The foot thing. The no shoes, no socks.
I hate
think you
flip-flops.
cover
I would
up.
imagine-
Cover up your shame.
If you want to ask, it's not ashamed of it, very proud of it. But if you want to, I would say most likely, and I have no recollection of this, but just knowing me, most likely at some point I wore flip flops on the subway. I would say most likely.
I would bet both my testicles on it that you have.
I'm sure I have. I'm sure I have. I've taken the subway.
I wouldn't lose a wink of sleep
Wait a
over.
second. I can go 100%. I've taken the subway to the beach before.
Yes.
So then, therefore,
That's
of
why I
course.
knew my balls were safe. I was like, you definitely.
What
would
about on
fuck
a
with
plane?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm always freezing on planes. But I would have if it was warm enough. Sure.
I think you're only allowed to take your shoes or socks off barefoot in 4 places. The 4 B's.
This is
on
such
the call.
an,
The
this
4
is
B's.
such an
No,
East
no, no.
Coast
4 B's.
opinion.
Bed, bath, beach,
Beyond.
Buddhist temple. Those are the 4 B's. 4 B's. You could be.
Bed,
You
bath,
could be
beach,
free.
and Buddhist temple.
That's it.
I mean, honestly,
Everywhere else you got to be covered.
Did you say
Outside-
beach in there?
Yeah.
Did you say public swimming pool?
No, it doesn't start with a B.
Yeah,
Beach, bed,
I'm
bath.
with Shaun. Feet should be Muslim. All right, they should be covered at all times unless for your partner.
I disagree.
Yeah, cover it up.
Yeah,
You guys got to live.
put a hijab
We
on
are
their
living.
toes.
You got to live a little. I'm going to tell you why people. Can we get to the answer? I know the answer.
No, we want to
Of
shame
why-
you more.
Why? I'm not ashamed. This isn't working. I feel fine. I'm from California. Everyone walks around in flip flops all the time.
And they're wrong. That's why you
All right, speak your piece, Toe Jam.
All right. So people. I have had toe jam.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's gonna make me sick.
No, I don't wear shoes that often. It's not my fault.
Toe Jam is such a I did have toe. Oh my God, and then you want to put your feet on shit.
Oh, you ever had a hangnail with just the pus coming out?
No.
What the fuck are you doing?
Oh, it's rough.
What are you doing here?
No, because sometimes the subway water
Some of
like
our
gets in your
listeners-
toes.
Some of our listeners are eating
The
lunch
subway
right now.
water?
Yeah, some of our listeners do this during lunch. Please, let's not ruin that for them. Oh God.
So the reason why is because everyone wants to be in Jamaica all the time. Everyone wants to be on the beach. You can't always afford it. So the closest you can get when you put your feet up and they're sticking out the window and somebody's driving, your best girl's driving the car.
Your best girl is so ridiculous.
You're going down the highway, can't drive 55. You feel like Eddie Money out there, and the wind's blowing in your feet. It's the cheapest vacation you can get. All right, that's the show, everybody. I think that's it. Did we get to the end of it?
One more question for Patreon. Oh,
We got one more question for Patreon coming after the break. We're also getting the behind-the-scenes story on Patreon of why the ups and downs, trials and tribulations of filming your comedy special. Your latest one. What's the first one called? Which is out now?
It's called Neil on YouTube. Check it out.
Neil on YouTube. Go check it out now. We didn't even get into the fact that was the first one you did with Mark Norman. You were opening for Mark Norman on the road, and you filmed it over a certain amount of days.
No, the first one I just did.
Oh, that was just you.
I just did in Buffalo. I said, "Hey, go swim with your best pals naked, and then come to a show." I filled out that
best
show.
girl.
Bunch of naked people.
Yeah.
It was great.
All right, everybody, stick around for Patreon after the music. One last
Wait,
thing.
do we have black and white truths?
Yes,
Dark truths?
we got white lies and dark truths. This is our fact check segment of the show. Everything we've been saying, he's been clickety clacking away back there, fact checking it. Joe Russell, what do we got? What do we get right? What do we get wrong?
Well, you guys were talking about putting your feet up there on the dashboard, and but that's dangerous, guys. You know that? Because the airbag is there, too, and it's designed to deploy at a high speed.
It'll blow your asshole.
So if there's a crash and your legs are on the dashboard, when the airbag deploys, it can strike your legs with immense force, leading to serious injuries like fractures, dislocations, and other trauma.
Worth it.
and then
Worth
you
the risk.
then you end up no feet, and I come in and I say,
Hey, ladies. That's is that it? That's the show, everybody. Patreon subscribers, stick around. Everybody else, stay black.
Stay black.
You've got a question, but you're scared to ask. Just drop the boys a message, 'cause they're up